Now let's move right into the meat of the program for tonight. And my overview is that I'm going to give you information to form an understanding about what it means to be divinely created. So on being divinely created. And after that, I'll give you some contemplative questions. So my quote for tonight again comes from James Redfield, the author of Celestine Prophecy. Again, another fabulous quote. And Mr. Redfield says, "If we stay aware and acknowledge the great mystery that is this life, we will see that we have been perfectly placed in exactly the right position to make all the difference in the world." Yeah. So, being divinely created. Now, in the course of human history, this is a relatively new concept. To believe that you yourself and everybody that you meet, every human on this planet, was divinely created and has a unique and important purpose. And that's because in our past, divinity has been attributed only to pharaohs, kings, queens, the royal family, as well as spiritual and religious leaders. But in modernity, every human now has the opportunity to learn about and respect the fact that you have a divine aspect in your human existence. Just think about that for a minute. A divine aspect in your human existence. It's pretty powerful. So, how do we know that we're divine and what does that mean? So I'm going to start off scientifically, because the building blocks for life, things like hydrogen and nitrogen, they're found in the remnants of the stars that have exploded, including comets that came to the Earth. And humans can't create this stuff. They just can't. They just can't. But something did, okay? Something did. So just scientifically alone has to have us say, okay, I've come from something greater than myself. And this is part of what divinity is about. It's something greater than yourself as a physical, three-dimensional being. Now, the other piece in why we know we're divine and what it means is that spiritually, everybody possesses a soul, a spark of the mystery that we call God or Creator. Why do you have a soul? How do you know you have a soul? This is what I use. A soul is that part of you that knows, always knows, the difference between right and wrong, even when, and I should say especially when, you're in denial about it. And here's why. It doesn't feel good. When you go against yourself, when you go against a cosmic law, when you go against love, it just doesn't feel good. It has nothing to do with your rational mind. There's something going on inside of you. There's an intelligence, an awareness, and we call that the soul, that eternal, timeless aspect of yourself. And that came from somewhere, again, beyond what we as humans can create. So, as divinely created beings, we are part of a divinely created and divinely organized universe, or if you're into the MCU as I am, multiverse. Divinely created, divinely organized, meaning that we really aren't in control of that. But we exist, we're here. So why does this matter? Right? It's the next piece. Why should I care that I'm divinely created, judge of power? What's that about? Well, accepting your divinity is what supports your acceptance of your higher purpose in life. I'll repeat that. Accepting your divinity is what supports your ability to accept, and I'll add, and to live out of your higher purpose in life. Meaning you're not just here to survive, but you're here to become the best version, the divine version of yourself. Yeah, that is how the universe works. It also matters because being divinely created means that I can go beyond my original limitations. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, anything that would thwart my higher purpose. I can get beyond that. And I'm going to give you two quick examples and very powerful examples in a minute. Also, being divinely created means I have a soul, which I just talked about, which gives me access to the eternal, to the timelessness. And we definitely need that, because if we start to believe in the fear, if we start to believe in the pain, then we might as well not be here. But there's something in us that knows we can get beyond that. Yeah. And being divinely created also means that I can choose love over fear. I do not have to stay in a fear space, in a negative space, in an angry space, in a painful space. No. I can choose to move out of that. So, proof of our divinity comes from two of my favorite people I like to talk about as great inspirational human beings, and that is Harriet and Helen. And of course, I'm talking about Harriet Tubman and Helen Keller. So, Harriet overcomes slavery, and Helen overcomes sight and speech impairment. So, Harriet, starts out life as a slave, but she ends up becoming one of the greatest heroes this country has ever seen. Because not only does she walk to freedom, walks out of slavery, decides, nope, this ain't for me, she actually is able to go back and bring others out. And if you know about Harriet, she also had gotten hit in the head with a tie iron by one of her slave masters. And so she would go into these trances. And when she was in a trance, she just dropped right out. But when she woke up, she'd be able to say, nope, we're not going that way, we're going this way. So she had that divine connection going on. And she never got recaptured. And this was during a time when they had this anti-slave law, not anti-slave law, anti-freedom law. But it meant that no matter where a slave went, had escaped, the slave master had the right to go and catch them. And she just never got caught. She kept doing her thing. And again, she was amazing. She was a spy during the Civil War. That's only come out recently, and so important people know about that. And she was a fighter, She just did it all. And she also set up a home for seniors. And it was next door to the house that she had. And it's also where she eventually took her final breaths. So again, out of slavery to be this an amazing, amazing human being in life. Divinely created and connected. And then Helen Keller, right? She starts out life where she gets sick within the first 8 months of her life, and she ends up not being able to see, not being able to hear. But she goes on to win an Oscar. Yeah, Helen Keller won an Oscar, man. I mean, she started the ACLU, American Civil Liberty Union. A lot of people don't know that. Of course, she was just a fierce fighter for the rights of people with impairment, with health challenges, especially people who couldn't see. She worked tirelessly for that, raising monies, traveled around the world 3 times, met every president that was alive during her life, up to President Kennedy. And it's just absolutely amazing. And somebody that people would sit up and think like, oh, no, she can't do anything. And she wrote, too. She was a writer. She gave speeches. She was amazing. Yeah. again, divinely created and connected, got beyond the limitations. And how do we do that if we are not divinely created and divinely connected? So I rest my case, just letting you know. And here's some personal challenge and awareness opportunity for you this week. Number 1, what original limitations in your life have you moved beyond? And why and how did that happen? Yeah, really important to think about that because we all have it in our lives. If we're adults, there's something we have moved beyond. Next, where in your life do you feel aligned with your divine self? And where do you not? And also think about that. What is your divine self? How do you experience it? How would you describe it? What is it to you? And again, where are you aligned and where are you not? And last but not least, what is one thing you can do this week to get more into alignment with your divine self? Yeah.